People who rarely get sick, what are your secrets? Before we start with the first story, please hit subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Story 1. Ever since I started sleeping early and getting 9 hours of sleep, I stopped getting sick so often. Not sure if that's it, but could be. I've slept badly for 90% of my life. 8 hours seems stupidly impossible. My average for the last few decades has been 5 to 6 hours, but often less. Tried everything. Thought it was impossible to get 8 hours because I'd either be too awake at night or wake up needing the toilet or just wake and not be able to get back to sleep. Turns out I never really implemented a very rigid sleep ANDAMP exercise routine. I tried it, but only 80%, and then I'd claim it didn't work. I've just woken up from a previously unimaginable 8.5 hour sleep. It took a while for my body and brain to adjust, but here's my simple routine that I started implementing, then stopped, then started again, and both times it's been successful. Story 2. If you are tired, sleep. Don't burn the candle at both ends. Like the saying in Blade Runner, a light that burns twice as bright burns half as long. And you have burned so very brightly, Roy. I knew someone who always went to bed early on Tuesday night. She never committed to anything else on that night. That way she always knew she was getting a good night's sleep in the middle of the week. I always thought that was wise. Story 3. Teacher here. I used to spend all of my sick and personal days on being sick each year. It was exhausting. Didn't matter how much I washed my hands, what grade level I taught, etc. Started wearing a mask during COVID mandates, and it was the first year in my career I didn't get sick. I wear a mask in my classroom every day now, and my quality of life has gone up substantially now that I don't have to spend weeks with a lingering cold every school year. Story 4. I had always heard that multivitamins were a waste of money, but a few years ago I decided to start taking one anyway for the hell of it. I was also a little bit low in my blood work in vitamin D, so I started taking a low-dose daily vitamin D supplement. It could be entirely coincidental, but ever since I started doing that, I get about 80% fewer illnesses. I used to get about 5 major colds per year. Now it is surprising if I even get one. Also, I get an annual influenza vaccine, and I've only caught influenza and tested positive for it once in about 25 years of being vaccinated. Story 5. I used to get sick all the time, at least 3 to 4 illnesses each year, more when I traveled by plane or train. And then I began masking with N95s in indoor spaces. During the early days of COVID, I realized I wasn't catching everything like I used to. Heck, I always get sick after traveling. I also stopped eating indoors at restaurants. After lockdown, I realized I get overwhelmed in restaurants and don't enjoy my time in them. Lights, smells, noises, all the people. It's exhausting. I totally do outdoor dining. It's not as draining as indoor. I know there are a crazy number of opinions on masks. I'm not going to argue with anyone about them. What I do know, they work for me and have made my quality of life infinitely better. Story 6. I wish I learned this before COVID, but wear a mask in public. I used to get colds twice a year like clockwork. One in the spring, another in winter. Colds with a nagging cough that wouldn't go away for weeks after. COVID happens. I mask up, get no colds for 2 years. I've learned you're all a bunch of germy bastards and continue to mask and gladly accept the scorn from 80-year-olds who will be dead shortly anyhow. I wear masks now every time I fly. I've yet to come down with anything after wearing a mask while flying. I also no colds, sniffles, sore throats, COVID, ECT. I've only gone maskless on a plane once since 2020, and that was the one time I caught COVID. I know filtered air helps, but let's be real here. Flying these days is basically like riding inside a packed can of sardines, and very few people are going to cancel their flight if they aren't feeling well. Frankly, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't wear a mask while flying or on public transportation. Story 7. Yes, sorry to all the people who are putting all this effort in, but it really does come down to genetics sometimes. I'm a similar description to this person and just rarely get sick. Never had COVID, never had gastro, or the stomach flu, as I've seen it called down here somewhere. Sometimes I get a head cold for a day or two, but I can usually clear it up pretty quick. I usually take most of my 5 government-paid sick days randomly throughout the year when I decide I want a little bit more sleep or I need to do some cleaning. I did take one earlier this year because I felt a cold starting and I wanted to nip it early and not pass it on to my company workers. Story 8. I'm a physician constantly exposed to sick people, and my husband is a kinder teacher always bringing home colds. I never get sick. I pretty much only drink water. I like coffee, but none of the sweet stuff. Americanos with a splash of cream. I don't drink or smoke. Frequent hand washing because of my job. I go to the gym at 5 a.m. 3 times a week. Another poster said, Mexican genetics, LOL. I'm also Mexican maternal grandpa, died at 98 in his sleep. Smoking like a chimney all the way to the end. Parents don't have any medical issues. Mom is 75 on 0 meds. Story 9. Eat healthy, avoid processed foods, exercise, stay active, get a good amount of sunshine and fresh air every day, get enough sleep, avoid too much stress, a daily multivitamin, always wash your hands and sanitize. Avoid touching too many things when out, stay away from kids, no outside shoes in the house, always clean and disinfect surfaces and countertops, use laundry sanitizer. Story 10. I have never done anything special, but I've rarely gotten sick ever. I've never had the flu, been told I'm a carrier by doctors. Had COVID once, barely got or felt sick, maybe backed up sinuses, that's it. The one and only thing that I get, bi-yearly it seems, is strep throat. Ever since I was a kid, that's the only thing other than a sinus infection I've ever had, and I've gotten it pretty regularly once every couple of years. I also have a very active immune system, i.e. doctors have told me I have a very high white blood cell count. But my liver function is normal, and I don't have any ongoing infections. So I've always attributed that to why I don't get sick. My immune system just attacks like a Zap Brannigan, throwing wave after wave of its own men at pathogens. Story 11. For me, I went from getting sick nearly every 2 weeks from something someone brought into the office to not getting sick at all except when I caught COVID. That sucked, but I recovered. But every time I'd catch something before I got the tonsils out, I'd get it way worse than whoever I caught it from. A head cold that would last 2 days for a coworker would have me super sick for over a week. It sucked. I've learned my immune system kinda sucks. I would get sick so much as a kid and into adulthood. But after getting these back-to-back illnesses, I saw an ENT, and he took one look at my tonsils and said, "Wow, those are big and ugly." Laugh out loud, not very professional, but it was validating for me. So I got the surgery when I was in my late 20s, and it was by far the most painful thing I've ever gone through. It's way worse when you're older because your tonsils have been growing scar tissue that whole time. It's rough. Imagine swallowing glass every time you need to swallow. And I assure you, you swallow your own spit way more than you're aware of. So about 3 weeks of that feeling before I could tolerate working and such. But it was so worth it. I had missed so much work from being sick all the time. And I haven't even had a cold in about 10 years now. Again, only thing I caught was COVID, and I had already had my vaccinations. That's just a particularly nasty and very infectious illness, and I caught it in late 2022. I imagine I'd be dead from it without the vaccines, because I would have caught it sooner and had a much rougher time getting over it. Again, my immune system kinda sucks, so when I caught COVID, I was sick as hell for 3 weeks. Story 12. Dentist here. Usually, we are exposed to a lot of respiratory disease. 2 of the most effective measures I did. 1. Checked my vitamin D levels. They were similar to an elderly person in a vegetative state, e.g. They were really low as I rarely see the sunlight and live in the northern hemisphere. Started supplementing with vitamin D, while still not being able to see the sunlight more often because I leave home before dawn and return from work in the evening. This alone reduced my sick days a lot. While it may be a placebo effect, I will feel much better, and my sleep cycle became more healthy. 2. Switch from a regular mask to FFP2 in my practice. Before COVID, regular masks were 99% common. I just kept the FFP2 mask. I almost don't dare to say it, but about 2 or 3 years have passed without a respiratory disease. This is extraordinary. Wait, there is number 3, which might be the most important. Don't touch your face unless your hands are washed or sanitized. People are dirty. They will scratch their ass and touch the door opener in the subway right afterwards. Don't touch your face. Story 13. Out of curiosity one day, I went online and searched how to properly wash your hands, brush your teeth, shower, wipe your butt, all that. I realized I had learned a lot of it wrong as a kid, partly stupid kiddie songs they made to teach, but also my parents had very little patience to properly teach my diagnosis. So practice good hygiene in general, which might mean relearn how to do things the right way. In the 10 years since, my oral health has been perfect. Clean up every 6 months is a must. My bowel movements are consistent in frequency and consistency. My skin was cleaned out. My dandruff or scalp irritations only flare up when it's really humid and hot. I only get a cold twice a year because I work in schools, which realistically kids are a walking petri dish. Keeping my house clean and organized helped me in staying active and keeping my knees strong and free of pain. I need to properly work out too, though. Story 14. A lot of it is luck, I know that. I'm thankful and grateful for that. Now I do control what I can. I've always exercised regularly, eaten well, etc. I'm closer to 60 now. Never had or needed glasses. I have zero fillings for cavities in my life. I've never smoked or done any illegal drugs. The first time I ever got drunk was when I was 40 years old. For the last decade or so, I eat beyond healthy, like really healthy by choice. What do I mean by this? No alcohol of any kind since 2012. No pizza of any kind since then. No ice cream, no bagels, no pastries of any kind, no cakes, no pies. No candy either, of any kind, not even gum. I haven't had soda of any kind since 2012 either. Again, this is all by choice. No one is making me, not even a doctor. I'm still really active. Bicycle each day, ruck, walk with weights in my backpack each day. I'm just trying to give myself the best chance to age well, so I figure I do what I can, do my part. Now, back in the day I loved pizza, bagels and cream cheese, Coca-Cola, and New York Super Fudge Chunk Ben & Jerry's ice cream. But I'm older, so it's fruits, veggies, lean meats, little red meat, a lot of fish and chicken, lots of water, and lots of exercise instead. Story 15. There are no secrets. People just have such shitty lifestyles that they're more prone to getting sick. I think most people who are frequently sick are in denial of the fact that it's completely on them. Overweight, lack of sleep, horrible diet, no exercise, no sunlight, and sedentary lifestyle. Unless you get super unlucky and have some genetic sickness, but that's a minuscule fraction of the population. No amount of sleep, exercise, and diet is going to fix that. Overall, just the title of this post is tilting because I'm so tired of people claiming they have no idea why they're sick and tired all the time. It's like, bruh, what? Maybe it's all the McDonald's you eat on a weekly basis. Or how about the fact you literally never go outside or move your body at all? And don't even get me started on obese people. We're not allowed to shame them because this toxic body positivity movement has convinced these people there is nothing wrong with the way they live. Get a reality check, stop stuffing your face, and go outside. Alright folks, that's a wrap. If you like this, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also share your thoughts in the comment below.